back to a new Knowledge Exchange Centre series. In this series, we're going to be looking at work experience and why it is so valuable as part of your learning. I'm Bruce McLaughlin and I'm the manager of a Knowledge Exchange Centre. Prior to that, I worked in the commercial sector, including some work for a number of events companies, one of whom was heavily involved in the 2012 Olympic Games. So, 10 minutes on the event industry coming up. Before we go much further, we ought to explore why work experience is so important. Your education at college or university really underpins the sector that you're going into. You gain all the knowledge, all the learning, all the theories, and those are really important things and will certainly stand you in good stead. But the other half of that equation is turning that learning into practical experience, into practical knowledge. To give you a slightly silly but really illustrative example, think about learning to drive. Can you imagine just trying to learn to drive in a classroom or by reading a book? It just wouldn't work, would it? You'd know all the theory, all the practical sides of it, but you wouldn't be able to apply them. You'd sit in a car and it would feel totally alien to you. And it's the same thing with anything in life. Of course the learning is important, that's why you're all studying hard. But translating that learning into practical experience is absolutely vital. And that's where work placements, work experience, work that you do whilst you're on summer recess, work that you do at weekends is so important as part of your learning. And whilst perhaps the job itself isn't your dream job or your part of your dream career, at every single workplace there are things that you will learn. Things that will stand you in good stead for the future. It's perhaps just training your eyes to see them and your ears to hear them. More about that on another occasion. Firstly, what is the events industry all about? Well, previously it used to be known by the acronym of MICE. MICE stands for Meetings, Incentives, Conferences and Exhibitions. But with all the developments that have gone on in the sector, now it's more typically known as the event industry or the events sector. It covers everything from small parties all the way up to great big international events like the World Cup, the Olympic Games, international film festivals, fashion shows, car launches, you name it, it's in the events industry, which makes that sector absolutely huge and really varied and therefore interesting. There's so much that you'd be able to learn from that sector. Just to give you some idea of the scale, according to the Business Visits and Events Partnership, in 2019 the sector was worth a staggering £70 billion. Wow, that's a big slug of money, isn't it? So why the events sector as a place to do your work placement? Well, top of that list is the fact that it's a very easy sector for you to break into. The nature of the sector is that one week you'll have a whole load of events going on and then next week absolutely nothing. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that most event companies have a very small core staff of full-time employees and then they recruit all sorts of casual or 0 hours employees to fill in the gaps when they have these events on. That means that they're constantly recruiting and bringing in new people to fill those gaps for all the events that are going on. And that means that once your reliability and your acumen have been established by them, they're going to give you more responsible roles within their company. So you might start simply serving on a counter and then very quickly be promoted to a team leader or managing a cash process or being in charge of some of the stock allocations. It really is hugely varied and there's a massive opportunities for you. That also means, of course, that you learn a huge amount from the sector because no 2 days are ever the same and there are so many different departments within the event companies that you can move around and really gain a huge breadth of knowledge. I mentioned earlier the event company that I worked for. They had a core staff of only around 40 full-time employees. When it came to us delivering the Olympic Games at 2 of the key London venues, of course that number went up to several hundred employees. We spent a lot of time finding people who were exactly right for that occasion because we wanted the very, very best to show London at its very, very best. And what did it mean for all those people that we employed? Well, it meant they had a chance to be part of the London 2012 Olympic Games. Now, how good is that going to look on a CV? Some of you might have a touch of the entrepreneur within you. And that means that you could think about starting your own small events company and gain direct experience and earn some good money in the process. You might just start small, doing small birthday parties for friends, families, but you'll be amazed how quickly things like that grow. Nearly all the big events companies will have started in that way. Started small, gained a good reputation, and then grown and grown and grown. Another big advantage of the events sector is that it'll allow you to pick and choose when you do work. You might register, for example, with 2 or 3 different event companies, and then if you've got a busy week when you've got an assignment that's due or you've got some research to undertake and you really don't have any spare time for working, you don't work. And then perhaps when it gets to a holiday period or that time when you've done your assignment, you've submitted it early and you're in a place where you can relax, then you can do more work. You can work 5, 6, 7 days a week probably if you really, really wanted to. It's important to realise that there are, of course, different areas within the event sector. Now, some of them might be in permanent venues, such as the Excel Exhibition Centre or the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham. Others might be entirely temporary in their nature. Think of the Glastonbury Festival. For most of the year, it's an empty field. And then suddenly, when summer comes, they fill it with stages and food offerings and retail stalls and camping and glamping and all the stuff that goes on. Everything that makes a successful festival. They run their festival, it turns over millions of pounds, and then it goes back to being an empty field. Somebody has to break it all down, somebody has to clear up and put it all away again. I hope that this little walk through the advantages of the event sector has got you really enthused, has got you perhaps thinking about applying for some of those positions. There's absolutely nothing to stop you contacting some of the event companies, asking them about their recruitment process and how you might be able to join their ranks. So get up, get out there, get eventing. Thanks for having me with you. Good luck to all of you in your studies and indeed your futures. Bye for now.